India's first indigenous Doppler soda. His thought leadership continues through policy reform, innovative programs, and his widely read writings. Notably, his sportsmanship and inclusivity were honored nationally during his appearance at Kaun Banega Crorepati in 2024, where he voluntarily stepped down mid-game to give other contestants a chance. And I think this, you might have recognized him from the same. And we are really honored by his presence with us today. Now it is my distinct honor to invite Dr. Neeraj Saxena to share his insights with us. Sir, please.
Welcome back. I'm sure the university has treated you well with a sumptuous breakfast. Okay, so all set now. Okay. So before I get into my presentation, I'll talk about some frameworks that have shaped the presentation, which I'm going to be sharing with you. The foremost is the Bloom's taxonomy. I believe everybody understands. You have the knowledge that Bloom's taxonomy has 6 levels. The bottommost is remembering. Then you have understanding, application, analysis, evaluate, and create. So these are 6 levels. Interestingly, we have 6 levels of education also in this country. Lower primary, upper primary, secondary, higher secondary, undergraduate, postgraduate, which includes research also. So 6 Bloom's taxonomy levels and 6 academic levels. So what can we make out of it? The school children should focus on understanding and remembering. Their education, to them, learning means remembering and understanding. To a student in secondary class, 9th and 10th, it means being able to apply knowledge. And once into 11th and 12th, it should be about being able to analyze. Analyze means break into parts. Now our secondary education, secondary schools fail to do this. They are not able to teach application and analysis, which is a foundation for higher education. Now, if you look at the entrance exams, they are all about application of knowledge and analysis, which means that these two are required for a person to qualify to be in higher education. Now, because our schools, secondary schools fail there, we have coaching institutions who prepare students to compete in entrance exam and then become eligible to get admission into degree programs. This also gives a message to us that in higher education, in university, we should focus on evaluate and create. Are we doing that? We miss out on that. And this is evident from the questions we ask students in our question papers. Interestingly, we had 6 types of teachers. Anyone wants to take a guess? 6 types of teachers. Adhyapak is the first one, whose job is to transmit information. Then we had Upadhyay, whose job was to inform, pass on knowledge. Then we had Acharya, whose mandate was to impart skills also. Then we had Pandit, who would provide deep insights into a subject. Then we had Drishta, who was a visionary. And at the top was Guru, a person who would awaken your wisdom. That's how Gurukuls were. And if you look at these 6, again you can map with the Bloom's taxonomy, 6 levels, and education also. Now in that hierarchy of teachers, Adhyapak, Upadhyay, and Acharya, they are more towards preparing students for core thinking. And the ones at Pandit, Drishta, and Guru, they initiated critical thinking. So these 3 teachers used to challenge the mind of the students or the disciples and stretch their mind. They will not fill the minds. Adhyapak, Upadhyay, Acharya would fill the minds. An interesting point is the positioning of these people. Upadhyay or a Adhyapak would stand in front because he has to transmit and you have to remember or understand. So he would stand in the front. And then Acharya would come and stand by the side. And a Guru Dronacharya, Guru Vashisth, if you see their picture, you will find them at the back of the student. So as a higher education teachers, if you are standing at the front, you are only transmitting information or knowledge, and you are not doing justice to the role. So your ideal position is at the back. When you are at the back of your student, both you and the student looks towards a problem, look in the same direction. When you are face to face, you are looking at each other. So that is not the ideal position. So the classrooms have to change. The configuration needs to change. Let me also talk about another framework which has evolved in the last century, and it is DIKW. D stands for data, I information, K is knowledge, and W is wisdom. Now data was fed into the calculators, and if you fed even a single digit wrong, the result would be wrong. And with the help of technology, digital technology, we move forward and we had information. And an information, when fed to a computer, would tell you whether it is correct or not. It had that intelligence. So in a Word document, if you misspelled a word, it will show red. Fast forward, knowledge, that is AI era. So if you even give wrong spellings into AI, still it understands, because it's all about context. It understands the context. And the next frontier would be wisdom, where you will have brain-computer interface technology. So this is another paradigm which is emerging. So if you think that AI is bothering you, there is one more to come. And that might even end learning. So that is the forecast. BT level, Bloom's taxonomy level 1 and 2, universities should not frame any questions on these two. BT level 3 and 4, there can be multiple choice questions, MCQs, and universities must adopt that to save time. BT level 5 and 6, that is evaluate and create, cannot be examined, cannot be taught in the conventional mode. So you have to challenge the minds of the students. Instead of putting content in their minds, you have to provide a context. So the syllabus changes there. It is about giving them a challenge which may not be from that subject which they are studying. It's about developing certain skills like problem solving, teamwork, communication, which we don't attempt in a normal class. So let me come to, so we have an assessment crisis. The problem is that predetermined content, what we provide to our student in the classrooms is predetermined. The books are a repository of that predetermined content. The teachers have been prepared to deliver that predetermined content, and the examinations also test that. So that does not justify higher education at all. And employers no longer trust the grades we give to the students in the exams. The traditional transcripts show what students have studied, but not what they can do. What are their capabilities? That is missing in our transcripts. There is a 60% skill gap between education output and industry needs. Now we all hear that there is an industry academia disconnect. We all hear that graduates are not employable. And that is because we are not playing at the level 5 and 6. The moment we touch or operate in the BT level 5 and 6, automatically the ones at the below 5 and 6 are automatically taken care of. So we don't have to actually waste time making students remember, understand, apply. So in higher education, the paradigm has to change. So now AI can pass most of the exams because it is predetermined content. So it is facing with an existential crisis itself. Why a student should come to the class. Whatever you are going to teach is already available outside. So we have about 10 years time to reform. There is already prediction that universities will face mass extinction. एक साथ सब गायब हो जाएंगी. That is a prediction. Unless we reform, unless we change. If you look back for thousands of years, university activities have centered around knowledge. The coin or the currency in universities has been knowledge. We transact in knowledge. But since knowledge is freely available, that currency has to change into experience. So when you talk about experience, it includes knowledge, skills, and abilities. So in the morning I was saying EXAM as examining, xeroxing ability of mind. So that needs to be transplanted by task, TASK. That is testing of abilities, skills, and knowledge. So that is a transition we need. So the models that we have are bound to become obsolete. The foundation of education, the idea of education, and the intention, the purpose of education is now completely changed. It's no longer about filling the minds of the students with information, knowledge, and skills. It is to prepare them to think, make them thinkers. So it is not content which is important, it is a context. So when we are talking about Viksit Bharat, the builders have to be trained differently. Our generation was, no, we did not have even internet. We had to depend on libraries, books, teachers. Now all that has gone. So the new generation of student has to be trained differently, and therefore the teachers also have to be trained differently. Now it's also an age of reversals. So these are my observations. Then the information was very limited. There was scarcity, and that was the reason we had full attendance in the classrooms. We rushed to libraries, we rushed to talk to our teachers. That is missing now. So that is a reversal in trend. Recall was valuable in those times. Now synthesis is essential. What you can create out of the knowledge. It's like atta, chini, pani, and some edible oil which is available. उससे क्या बढ़िया डिश बन सकती है? That's creativity. So the knowledge will always be there, but what you can make out of it is how the students have to be trained. Individual work was prized and there was competition. Now this is an age of collaboration. No person can acquire all the skills. They have to be complemented by team members. So AI augmentation is the standard now. Exams tested knowledge. Now exams test exam taking ability. Grades used to certify what learning is, how much a person has learned. First class pass, second upper, a good second class, इस type के phrase use होते थे. Now we need evidence that proves competency. So Bloom's taxonomy also, we see an inversion. Now AI is dominating at the lower levels. So it takes care of remember, understand, and apply. And what AI cannot do is this: analyze, evaluate, and create. To some extent it will do, but not fully. So here is a scope for us to intervene, for faculty to excel and to prepare themselves. This will still remain challenging for the AI. So it makes a lot of sense to migrate upward, elevate your skills, elevate yourself to teach analysis, evaluation, creation. And it is not so taxing as these remember, understand, apply. चल नहीं रहा है. इससे हो सकता है. हाँ, ठीक है. So the traditional model of assessment was input focused. It measured attendance, assignment completed, and exam score. And the same exam was administered to all, everyone. So it was one size fitting all. Grades were distributed, and it was a reductionist approach. That means a student was expected to recall exactly what was there in the book. So one who is able to do it perfectly gets 100 out of 100. If you are able to reproduce 90%, you get 90. If you are able to regurgitate only half of it, you get 50. So proxy metrics, GPA as substitute for actual capability. So it was believed that a student who has scored 99% will also be a good citizen, good human being, good at doing things physically. So it was taken that for granted that a person or a topper is excelling in all domains. So it was taken as a proxy for all other cognitive domains. So no verification was there, and it was institutions who graded them. And real world application, authentic problem solving, verifiable outcomes, teamwork, and soft skills, they were never tested. So this is losing relevance. We may still, as faculty, root for it, but its uprooting is for sure. It is not going to sail through in the age of AI. If you are worried or concerned that students do not come to your class or they don't want to listen to you, it is because of this. So a traditional transcript, it shows course name and grades in terms of letters or marks, cumulative GPA, credit hours completed. But AI age transcript would mean specific competencies achieved with evidence, real world outcomes and impact. There'll be blockchain verified, and there will be live portfolio links. That means whatever project they have done, whatever assignment they have done, that is available for the recruiter also to check. So link is provided. So even after passing out, an employer can still check whether it is done or not. So I have given some examples. I am not sure whether it should be clear there. So traditional transcript, it shows data structure. This is a BTech computer science student. So algorithm B plus data structure A, this is what we give. Whereas AI age transcript would spell out innovation and entrepreneurship. That is level 6. It says founded Ecotech Solutions. $50,000 as seed funding. AI and machine learning level 5. Deployed ML model with 95% accuracy in production. Now you can see these two. I have put the same thing here. Which will attract an employer more? So it's obvious that this tells us much more about the capability and the potential of a student. So the universities must migrate to this. This is no longer going to serve purpose. So there is another example I've taken from a management student who gets 3.8 out of 4, but its transcript reads strategic leadership level 6, financial modeling level 5, market research level 6. An employer sees proven business value creation and leadership track record. This doesn't say anything, but it says all about the, and you can understand why an employer would look for that. One more example is from medicine. AIH transcript, it reads clinical diagnosis, diagnose rare condition missed by 3 specialists. Emergency medicine, manage 15 cardiac arrests, 87% survival rate. Medical research level 6, first author publication. So what employer sees is proven clinical excellence and diagnostic expertise plus research productivity. And these are dynamic. These get frozen. Now, if a person continues, this can also continue to change. New activities, the AI age transcript, because it is blockchain linked, it gets updated. So whatever a student is actually doing gets reflected in the transcript. So the new age transcript should read like this. And I would urge all the faculty here that we should go for something like this. It will be a groundbreaking thing, and you can take lead in this country. You can set example for others. So there are 5 flaws with the traditional transcript. There is no verification because it is all self-reported grades. No external validation. Whatever has been given by the university is final. A means different things at different institutions. A means I am very good at computer, but it does not tell what my communication skills are. It will be taken for granted that I am also good at communication. Gaming the system. Students understand and they can game the system. They know how to get A. The questions are indirectly leaked. They can go back and look at last 5-year papers and find out what is expected. They don't have to learn the entire chapters. Select questions are good enough for them to pass. Employer gets confused. What does 3.7 GPA actually predict? What does it mean? So the employers are also losing trust in the grades or the transcript we offer. And all traditional exams can now be gamed by AI. So it renders the traditional transcript meaningless altogether. So in the AI age transcript, it would be evidence which would matter over credentials. Competency based, that means demonstrate specific capabilities, not course completion. In my university, and I think everywhere across the country, the teacher feel that it is their responsibility to cover the or complete the course or the curriculum. These are students who have passed an entrance exam. They are going to be graduate. It is their responsibility to complete the syllabus, not yours. You are not required to stand in front and teach them. They are required to approach you when they struggle, then when they face problem. Their minds are to be challenged. Your time is precious. They will not move to higher levels in Bloom's taxonomy if you solve their problems. They have to solve. They have to struggle. They have to learn. They have to be exposed to real world problems, solve authentic problems, not the ones dug out of Google, dug out of existing. If you run a program and computer generates a problem for you, it is not a problem because the answers are also known. So once the questions are known and answers are known, it is Bloom's taxonomy level 1 and 2. So the problems have to be sourced or harvested from industries, and there can be multiple sources. Every research paper ends with what next? What is the future? What is unsolved? All that is a problem that can be assigned to a student. And since they are learners, they are students, it is not about solving a problem. It's about approach to solving a problem. That solving a problem is must comes when they are in a job. Here they can take risk. Here they can fail. And that also goes in as learning. So there is an equivalent of academic bank of credits. We can think of academic bank of experiences, ABE, and these can directly be read by an employer. So it gives a clear signal of job readiness. How evidence get validated or verified? So blockchain credentials are possible these days. That means you cannot tamper with the proof. Automated checking of claimed competencies is possible. Real-time access to work products. That means if you have developed some prototype, it is available, or its video is available. So proof is accessible. Peer reviews, that gives another layer of validation. When you conduct problem-solving based exercise, it is desirable, or rather it must be made mandatory, that the group which solves a problem makes a presentation before rest of the groups. Rest of the groups must interact, question, and in the process they learn. So group-based problem solving should include peer evaluation before teacher evaluates. So it reduces the burden of teacher. The students learn much more in this way and are more clear as they get insights from other group of students also. So they are better informed, better learned. And measurable impact metrics are the outcome. So this is a transition, and we have evidence which is verified against the transcript in which we give marks, and you have no way to verify that actually.
Can we understand that you give one example?
If you allot a problem to any group, now they have to work, solve the problem, and it has to be documented. Now all that document is available for scrutiny by the other groups, by the teacher. That means the project is available even after you have gone and left the institution. So that evidence is there and can be verified at any point of time. That's the idea. Now, this is something I have drawn. This is my own creation. And what you see here is a quadrant. And this is known questions, unknown questions. You have unknown answers and known answers. So I've created these 4 quadrants. And in the blue, you have known answers and known questions. That means answers and questions both are known. So it corresponds to primary education. Teacher को answer question दोनों पता होता है. So it is pedagogy, teaching children. Next is quadrant 2, that is UQ, known answer and unknown question. That means you have to inquire, you have to explore. And this is called as pedagogy. You have to work in group. So this is different from pedagogy, where a teacher instructs. And then quadrant 3, where known questions which are given and answers have to be discovered. So that is again another form of pedagogy, which is peer-directed learning, and the focus is on collaboration, problem solving, application. So this is create. So this is where higher education should be. And further up, answers and questions both are unknown. That means you are completely an explorer. That's where you innovate. So it's self-determined learning. The focus is on evaluation, reflection. So what you have learned, you have to think over it. And knowledge creation. So this is a paradigm which explains what is the problem with our education system. Right up to the postgraduate level, we are stuck at quadrant 1 only. That's predetermined content. So if we have to just do justice as a role of a teacher in higher education, we have to move to quadrant 3 and 4, which means your assessment system has to change. It is in quadrant 1 and 2 that AI, जैसे कहते हैं कुंडली में शनि बैठ गया है, तो यहाँ पे AI बैठ गया है. So it is better we forget it, because AI can help in recall. So known answers to known questions, memorization and reproduction. AI can perfectly recall and instantly access. Assessment is multiple choice, short answer. It is useless now. Second quadrant is pedagogy. Actually, it is not research, it is inquire. So unknown answers to known questions. It's about synthesizing information. It is better than pedagogy. And assessment is through research papers, which can easily be generated by AI now. So first and second quadrant should be forgotten completely. And we have to take care of quadrant 3 and 4, which are the place which has role of all of you to play. So create known answers to unknown questions, that is a paradigm, pattern recognition in novel context. Human advantage is that identified what questions matter, and assessment has to be project based and real problems. So when you move further, it is heutagogy. Pedagogy is peer learning. Pedagogy is for kids. Heutagogy is for adult learners in digital frame. So the human advantage is here judgment, wisdom, values-based decisions. And assessment is through authentic entrepreneurship and research breakthroughs. This is what we expect in higher education. Interestingly, it is humans that have to play a major role in shaping the next 20-25 years of education. We as teachers have to change ourselves. We have to elevate. We have to develop capabilities to challenge our students. We have to be able to scout problems. We have to be able to mentor the students. This is what is going to make us acceptable in the society. If the teachers are losing respect and standing in the society, it is because the whole substrate has changed. The change is not after AI, but it started happening with internet 25, 30 years back. But we are not prepared to accept that. We felt that internet is one more tool. Just as books were there, internet is going to do that job. But what was different with internet is that students were able to access that faster than the teachers. And then online education was also picking up, but we were not ready to accept that. We realized that only during the pandemic. Incidentally, I had proposed a virtual university to Dr. Kalam when he was president. I had gone to Rashtrapati Bhavan and given this suggestion. That was in year 2004. So he had invited many top faculty from different institutions, and everybody laughed at my idea. Today I smile at them, not laugh. So this was happening, but we are not accepting. Similarly, AI is happening and we must accept that. It is shaking the foundation of education. Education is prescriptive by nature. It is corrective in nature. It can be gamed, but learning is not. Learning has to be adaptive. It has to be personalized, and it has to be purposed also. So we are in that age where we can relive Gurukuls and prepare the masses, the students. The only difference during those Gurukuls and today is that we have a huge number of students, but that's where the technology comes to our rescue. So we are still using the word pedagogy in higher education, which is absolutely wrong. Adults don't learn by remembering and memorizing. There is a difference. Adolescents learn by exploring, whereas adults learn through experiencing. So if you want the students to learn, you have to create experiences for them. Experience designing is the role that you have to play. Last year, I was in a school where a student, from 11th or 12th class, she asked me, "Mujhe yaad nahi hota hai." Now, her worry was that she was not able to memorize. And that's where I told her कि आप memorize कर भी नहीं सकते हैं, because your learning is through exploring. You have to become more inquisitive, find out answers, and then you will remember. If you try to memorize from books, या तो 10 डिजिट का मोबाइल नंबर भी याद नहीं हो पाता है. So we cannot memorize, we cannot pass exams by memorizing. याद कर भी लेंगे एक रात पहले तो अगले दिन सब साफ हो जाता है. So that's not the way adults learn, and adults cannot be examined for their memory. They have to be assessed for their experience. So the assessment has to change, even more so when we are into the age of AI. So heutagogy is self-determined learning, where the learner is autonomous. They have to find out their own learning path. It is their job to complete the syllabus, not yours. They have to develop capabilities of meta competencies. That means think how to think, not just acquiring knowledge, remembering it. Real world problem challenges and continuous self-assessment and adaptation. That means they have to realize, they have to understand what they have learned and move forward in that. They have to document their learning path and outcomes. And with this, the assessment must shift it from grading to enabling capability documentation. That means the transcript of the AI age, which I mentioned. So it is those type of experiences which must be documented. Now, level 5 and level 6 cannot be tested in time-bound exams. They cannot be tested through your written exams. So for 5 and 6, you have to create problems, and assessment has to be done accordingly, not through grades, but by putting the outcomes and the achievements along with the level. So to implement heutagogy, I have proposed a sprint model where SPRINT stand for self-paced, problem-based, reflective, innovative, navigated, and transformative. Now you can see that learners progress at their own pace in an autonomous manner that corresponds to evaluation. Problem-based engagement with real-world problems to develop practical solution, it's subjected to evaluation. Reflective, that means they have to think about it, continuously assess themselves. This is again evaluation. Innovative, that means they are creating something. So encouragement of creativity and generation of original ideas. It's navigated, that is personalized learning paths guided by individual interests and goals. It is not somebody who's dictating them to follow a particular path. It is their own call. It is their own thinking. So this meets that level of evaluation and creation. Transformative is application of learning to effect meaningful change. So transforming something by application of knowledge acquired, that is subjected to evaluation and creation. So this is a structured approach to competency development for heutagogy. Now, in my university, we have 40% marks given to continuous assessment, and 60% are given for the summative assessment, that is, end semester exam. So we have introduced a change which we are going to effect from the next semester. There is a problem which is assigned to the student, a group of students right in the first semester. And this activity of cumulative or continuous assessment is apportioned 40% of the time. 40% of the marks is the weightage given, and 40% of the equivalent time is given for problem solving activities. So they effectively get 4 months in a semester, 40% of those 4 months to work on problems in groups. So they make project presentations, portfolios, they attempt for entrepreneurship. The teacher at the end has to tell whether this finding or the solution is patentable or can be published, or it requires to be carried forward in the next semester. So teacher has the last word. Before giving the grades, teacher has to tell this also. So this is real-time performance data, and all the problems that they are going to solve will be part of their transcript. It is called JIS experiential transcript. So all that is going to be reflected there and available to a recruiter. So in addition to the 60% for which they will get grades, marks, conventional system, 40% they will get transcripts, which will be reading differently now. What we are also proposing is that these problems that they solve, as you saw in the transcript for medical doctor, for the management and the computer science student, these transcripts will also mention about what they have done and at what level of Bloom's taxonomy. And this becomes a repository of experience. And this we are calling as academic bank of experiences. So it is beyond credit banks to document the experiences which the students acquire in the semesters. So each semester there will be a problem. It is not that in the 6th semester they are assigned a big problem. Every semester they have to go through this problem solving. And it is expected that teachers will make the problems more complex. Jitna zyada challenging problem hoga, utna hi students will enjoy. If you ask a very tough question in exam, everybody starts crying. Syllabus ke bahar ka de diya. But here you pose the toughest problem, they will enjoy. We are allowing AI to be used here. Students can use AI, teachers also can use AI. But before assessment, before it is submitted to the teacher, three more students will verify whether the claim that I have used AI for this purpose, the students will verify that. So in the process, those 3 students learn how to detect usage of AI. So we are training them also. And teachers' burden gets reduced because he has to look only once. Same is with the assessment. So peer assessment is introduced, so students will assess themselves before a student is assessed by the teacher. So we are reducing the load of teacher. Teachers don't have to take classes. Students have to come with their problems. So that's how we are going to transition. So higher order assessment design. So for analysis, it is case studies analysis with novel scenarios, pattern identification in real data sets, systems thinking demonstration. So these are different ways how assessment for higher order Bloom's taxonomy levels can be done. So rubric-based assessment, level 1 and 2 is a novice, requires supervision, follows procedures. Level 3 and 4 is competent, it's independent execution and adapts to the context. Level 5 and 6 is an expert, innovates, teaches others, creates new knowledge. So these are the criteria. You can design rubrics in your own way, and assessment process is also laid down. So clear criteria is there, replacing the arbitrary grades which they are given in a conventional exam. So 30 to 47 is going to be a critical timeline for the country, because we have a new generation of learners which will step into the universities, and providing them instructions or education which has been there given in a traditional manner is not going to work. So the first thing is the teachers have to upgrade, have to change. The universities have to upgrade, change the way they are teaching, the way they are, following the teaching learning processes. 80% of our youth is unemployed because they do not get this training, the skills, the abilities that can get them a job. So if it is not done in universities and colleges, who will do it? Now, in the very first point that I made, levels of education and Bloom's taxonomy, create, evaluate are in the college or universities. There is nothing above create. So if we do not teach how to evaluate and create in the universities, where else will they learn? So it is a bounden duty of all of us to ensure that they are trained in those two domains. One more domain, in fact, there are three domains of learning. One is cognitive domain, where brain is involved or mind is involved. The second domain is called a psychomotor domain, where your hands and legs are involved. That means when you do practicals. There is third one, which is called as affective domain, bhav. And that is the one where heart is involved. And if you are feeling as a teacher that, or as a member of society, that there is a drainage of affection, there is a respect, and all these values are diminishing, it is because that we do not focus on affective domain. When you assign problems, affective domain should be the foundation of any human being. The primary education, we should start with affective domain. Respect for each other, respect for elders, respect for the community, sensitivity towards environment. All these things have to be taught at that level. कॉलेज में यूनिवर्सिटी में आके तो बिगड़ चुके होते हैं, क्या सीखेंगे वो? So that is the right place. But when you assign problems, real problems to your students in as part of your curriculum, then affective domain also comes into play. When a student has to design for example, a water treatment plant. Now, through a mathematical model or anything, 10 by 10 kilometer का बना के छोड़ देगा वो. Now, he has to also think how much of humans will be displaced. And if you make it that big, what is the use of it? So many questions will come in the mind. So that is where a student has to think what is an optimal solution, why I should not do this, why I should do this, why I should use this material, so all these questions come when you are solving a problem. These do not appear in your mind or cross your mind when you are mugging up the answers. So adults have to be taught this also. So real problem gives an opportunity for imparting the affective domain skills also. So your role as a faculty, stop testing what AI does better. That means eliminate recall and application exams. Let us not do it. Design competency rubrics. Define what mastery actually looks like. Your rubrics have to assess something totally different. Rubrics is a tool for assessment, and I wish you could have a session on that also. Somebody can teach rubrics, but even AI generates good rubrics these days. create authentic assessments for real problems and verifiable outcomes, build evidence portfolios which help in the documentation of the competencies of the student, not memorizing. Experiment and share, pilot new methods, learn from failures, and shift the mindset from gatekeeper to capability enabler. So you are not there as a person who checks, who stands at the exit of first year or first semester, checks the student whether he is eligible for next semester or not. You have to be a facilitator. You have to ensure that they are imparted right kind of opportunity, right set of skills to advance forward, not content, but context. So what we should do, so AI has made traditional assessment obsolete. This is inevitable. We cannot do anything. It is gone. A teacher is totally replaced by AI. If you are a person who wants to only stand in front and speak, if you want to only give instructions, that role is better done by machines now. Evidence-based competencies rebuild trust between education and employment. Today, there is a trust deficit. The employers and the recruiters really don't care about the marks students get. They rather look into their LinkedIn profile, Facebook profile, and from there they make out the competencies. They look at the number of hackathons, publications. Those are more trustworthy than the marks that students score. So we are now in a phase where we must act, we must take bold decisions. The universities must evolve. India can lead globally if we embrace this change. We can be the leaders, we can be the pioneers. I've suggested that this university itself can change the transcript and be a totally different university in the country. Your next step, join Education 2047 community. Look at what future holds for us. AI is going to alter the landscape, educational landscape completely. We are also having brain-computer interface knocking. So we need to be mindful of those changes. We have to look at those. And I may sound a bit rude, but the span of a teacher is only 5 years. If you do not change in 5 years, you'll be rendered absolutely obsolete. So 5 years ka window hai. Please change. This is what I foresee by 2047. This is a book I have written, no curriculum, no classroom, no examinations. So the curriculum will be decided by an AI. It will prepare what I have studied. Based on that, it will decide, it will tell me, it will prescribe what I can learn, what I should learn to be an excellent person. There will be no classrooms. Classrooms are placed for filling minds. We need things like idea labs, which this BIT has and this university also is planning to have. These are called as sandboxes. So sandboxes are where you can build something, it breaks, you can build again, you learn in the process. So the classrooms have to be scrapped altogether. They need to be replaced by places where experiential learning happens. And no examination, because AI will track you every moment. And to an employer, it will give you a transcript. इतना projects किया है, यहाँ पे visit किया है. Every detail that an employer wants will be available to the employer. So the assessment merges into living, working, and creating. There is no separate assessment. This is what is going to happen in future, as I foresee. So I write a lot of blogs. If you can scan this, you will find 52 of them I have finished, and they're all about Education 2047. So I think that's my last thing, and thank you very much.
So if anyone of you has any questions,
If you ask, I will learn. Ah, yeah. Ah, ah, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, that means, exam in a traditional sense means you are testing the memory. So today, exam means what? Testing the memory. That is going to be reverse. It's no longer about testing the memory because AI does that recall and retention much better. So this is basically an age of reversal in a sense that we have created machines, we have created gadgets which teach us. But have you ever, thought AI is learning from us? Each time we interact, AI is learning from us. So far, we were learning from machines. We created machines so that we could learn. But now, machine is learning from us. So that's another reversal. Teacher-centric is changing into student-centric. That's another reversal. So there are several reversals which are happening. And when these reversals happen, we can go back and reclaim Gurukuls. That was a system for learning. It enabled, it supported learning. Gurukul supported learning. And teachers then were different. Abhi jo teachers hai, you have to only look at the books and teach. So in those days, Guru, Drishta and Pandits, they use their mind to challenge the minds of the students. That's how they prepared. Another major difference Gurukul and now is that you don't have to memorize things now. पहले आपको सब कंठस्थ करना पड़ता था. You had to memorize. Today you don't have to do that. You can easily store the information and retrieve it whenever you want. So we have to build on those capabilities, those structures for a better ecosystem that supports learning. So last 200 years, we have been supporting education. It's all about education. The systems support education. But what we need is not education, but learning. We use these two terms interchangeably, but both are different. Learning is intrinsic. खुद से आती है ये सीखने की भाव. Whereas education is somebody forces us to learn. In learning, you decide. You learn at your own pace. But in education, आपको 5 सब्जेक्ट जो स्कूल पढ़ाएगा वही पढ़ सकता है. उसके बाहर का आप सोच ही नहीं सकते हैं. So that is education, and it prepares. अध्यापक and उपाध्याय, they prepared people for job because उनको रटवाना है, and their job is to prepare you to follow instructions. So the bottom 3 layers of Bloom's taxonomy, if you are following, you are preparing people who cannot create, who will follow the instruction. They will not work unless somebody give instruction to them. एग्जाम में जो क्वेश्चन आता है दैट इज ऑल्सो एन इंस्ट्रक्शन. क्वेश्चन आया तब आप रिएक्ट कर रहे हैं. Whereas if a problem is given, you start looking at it from different angles. There can be any number of answers. There's nothing fixed. That is creation. And how do you evaluate creation? You cannot. So universities have chosen a easier path, stick to examinations. And that results in unemployed youth. We have 8 crore youngsters entering into higher education every year in this country. 8 का ग्रुप भी बनाएंगे तो 1 करोड़ ग्रुप बन जाएगा. 1 करोड़ ग्रुप can attempt one problem each. 8 crore problems can be attempted. But what we are doing, 8 करोड़ को हम लोग लगा देते हैं रट्टा लगाओ. Nobody is into problem solving. Nobody likes it. So we have to change, at least at higher education. This is the right time when AI is making an incursion into the system. We should take advantage of it, do away with our traditional systems. Many of the things need to go. There is no place for many of the things. So that's why I say there is no curriculum, no classroom, and no examination. That is the future of education. We have to get ready first. University तो बाद में है. First, we have to change our mindset. Yes, we will do it. We will not follow the old beaten path.
Everything is fixed, sir. Assessment pattern is fixed. How we can deviate from that for our students?
No, university has an authority, autonomous body है ना. University is autonomous. Who is stopping? University can decide it. I am going to bring changes in my university.
Because question papers are set at university level for every colleges.
No, बैन कर दीजिए ना. लेवल 1, लेवल 2 का कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं होगा. हो गया?
So according to you, the main agent will be university.
University enjoys, but university depends on all of you. शुरुआत आप बोलेंगे नहीं, मैं तो फर्स्ट और सेकंड वाले ही लेवल का क्वेश्चन पूछूंगा. वहां से आप छोड़िए ना फर्स्ट और सेकंड लेवल.
But I think, sir, the changes should start at higher level. Then it should bring to lower level.
नहीं, यूनिवर्सिटी अगर बोल देती है कि 1 और 2 बैन हो गया है तो आप मानेंगे नहीं मानेंगे? मोस्टली नहीं मानेंगे, बिकॉज आपको तो 5 साल का रिसाइकिल करना है ना.
I am affiliated to CSVTU. What they will say, I have to follow that.
No, but if university decides that we will not ask any question of level 1 and 2, all of you should agree for that.
Yeah.
If you did, the change begins there. 50% evaluation will be based on problem solving. अब देखिए ना कितनी problem solve हो जाएगी आपकी. How much IP will be generated? कितने पेटेंट निकल आएंगे, पब्लिकेशन निकले, तो आप तो समृद्ध हो जाएंगे. We struggle for papers. Here is a solution. You get a lot of papers. अगर आपके क्लास में 60 स्टूडेंट्स है, 6 का ग्रुप बना दे, 10 प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो रही है, 10 पेटेंट निकल सकते हैं, पेपर निकल सकते, कुछ भी निकल सकता है, कुछ तो निकलेगा.
So my question is how we can work more on effective domain. आपने कहा कि अध्यापक जो शुरू के बच्चा वही नहीं समझा इन चीजों को, जैसे आजकल हो रहा है, तो वो क्लासरूम में आकर के सीधा हायर लेवल पे तो हमको मतलब उस जगह पे भी बेसिक्स भी पढ़ाना पड़ेगा और फिर हायर लेवल पे प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग के साथ इसको अप्रोच करना.
हाँ, नहीं, इफेक्टिव डोमेन बेसिकली जो प्राइमरी एजुकेशन वहाँ डोमिनेंट होना चाहिए. लेकिन हम लोग क्या करते हैं, वहां पे भी पहाड़े याद रटाना शुरू करवा देते हैं. द टेंडेंसी टू मेमोराइज थिंग्स स्टार्ट फ्रॉम देयर इंस्टेड ऑफ लेटिंग देम एक्सपीरियंस द एटमॉस्फेयर, लिव विद द कम्युनिटी, गो अराउंड, मिंगल विद द पीपल, अंडरस्टैंड. और उस एज पर अगर आप बोलते हैं वहां पे स्टूडेंट्स जो होते हैं, छोटे बच्चे, दे ऑब्जर्व एंड फॉलो. अगर आप उनको बोलेंगे चोरी नहीं करनी है, पता लगा टीचर ही चोरी करते हुए वो नजर आया, तो देयर माइंड इज गॉन. फॉर लाइफ टाइम दे विल फील कि ये तो ठीक बात बोली. ठीक है ये, this is acceptable. So that is where the teachers have to lead as example, because they will be followed. Even the parents, क्योंकि उनको फॉलो करते हैं उस एज पर, they imitate that because they memorize and the tendency is to imitate, वो फॉलो करते हैं. But by the time you grow up, आप सेकेंडरी में आ गए तो you start questioning, ऐसा है आपने क्यों कहा, वो तो चोरी करता है, आप मुझे क्यों मना कर रहे हो. So all those things come. So affective domain is basically what makes us human. Values जो है, जब आप हायर एजुकेशन में when you try to solve problems, you have to look at different dimensions. उससे सोशल डायमेंशन भी आता है. अगर आपने कोई गैजेट बनाया, उसमें हार्मफुल केमिकल लगा दिया आपने, या वो उसका एमिशंस कुछ ऐसे खतरनाक गैसेस है, तो यू आर नॉट सपोज टू डू इट बिकॉज यू अंडरस्टैंड कि इट इज गोइंग टू हार्म समबडी. तो आपका सॉल्यूशन जो होगा, इट विल बी गाइडेड बाय दोज प्रिंसिपल्स. तो इफेक्टिव डोमेन प्लेज एन इंपॉर्टेंट रोल इन हायर एजुकेशन ऑल्सो. एक्सप्लिसिटली आपको क्लास में कोई बताएगा नहीं कि यू आर नॉट सपोज टू डू दिस, बिकॉज यू अंडरस्टैंड कि जो एमिशंस है वो हार्मफुल है, तो आप ऐसा सॉल्यूशन डिजाइन ही नहीं करेंगे. इट विल बी ए कंस्ट्रेंट. सो यू आर लर्निंग दैट इन द प्रोसेस. So when you go at a workplace, you will always follow that. You will keep in mind कि ये गलत काम है. So that's how the society has to evolve. We have to place more weightage in effective domain. आजकल जो कहते हैं ना, मूल्यों का ह्रास हो रहा है and all that, it's because of that. क्योंकि वहां पर एग्जाम्पल्स नहीं है हमारे पास. जो उस लेवल पे जो टीचर्स है, दे हैव टू बी एग्जाम्पल्स टू द, बट उनको हम कह सकते हैं, हमें भी होना पड़ेगा. वी हैव टू बी एग्जाम्पल फॉर देम ऑल्सो.
That means we have to focus that AI in 2047 will be just like Ishwar, which we cannot see, and जो हम लोग महाभारत वगैरह पे देखते थे, ऐसे धनुष की तरह रखते थे.
नहीं, ये काफी चेंजेस आएंगे. वी आर गोइंग टू सी मच मोर चेंजेस. There is a term called as technological singularity. तो आज से 10 साल पहले it was predicted that technological singularity, that means you are not able to distinguish between a command from a machine and a human. Human generated and machine generated में अगर आप differentiate नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, that is point where technological singularity has been reached. So it was predicted that it will be in 2047. अभी जो लेटेस्ट आया है वो कह रहा है कि 2 साल में ही हो जाएगा वो. So we are not going to be able to distinguish between man and machine. Another interesting development is that all the intelligence, artificial intelligence that we are playing with, that will reside in our gadgets. Machines, they will become intelligent, and if they become more intelligent and are at level, फिर हमें पढ़ने की जरूरत ही नहीं रहेगी. Higher education will not be required in that case. Only some people will require higher education who can take it further. Rest can enjoy life. इस तरह ये पढ़ाई का सिलसिला भी 200 साल पहले नहीं था. Not everybody was going to school. कुछ परसेंटेज ही जाते थे, 1 or 2% पीपल वुड गो एंड स्टडी. बाकी सब ऐसे ही रहते थे, खेतों में काम कर रहे हैं, कोई कुछ कर रहा है, सब ऑल स्किल्स वर आर्टिसंस हुआ करते थे. ठीक है.
Thank you very much, sir. The talk was really interesting, and you could understand by the silence that was there throughout the session that everyone was really mesmerized by the talk, and there was really a lot of things to take away from this particular presentation. We really thank you for your time and for this presentation. So now we are at the end of session number 1. I would request all the participants to kindly proceed for the lunch, and we'll be back at 2 o'clock for the session number 2. Thank you very much. Also, if you need any of the contacts for Professor Saxena or those are displayed on the screen, you can make a note of that. He has already shared with you this book. It would be interesting to go through the book as well. So I would request all of you to make a note of that.